walked out the door.
Hello, everybody. This is Frank George with the Protection Project. Today is December the 23rd, 2023, and we had done an interview with Mr. Dave Gibson of Virginia just a couple of days ago. And since that time, and the interview was about Trump will not be elected, that's his opinion, and the opinion of many others in this country, too. The reasons, well, we will discuss that later. But no sooner had we taped that interview than the state of Colorado decided that it was going to kick Donald Trump off of the primary ballots in that state, and that was upheld by the Supreme Court of that state. It is now hoped that the Supreme Court of the United States will look at that situation and rule it to be unconstitutional. Personally, I don't trust the Supreme Court. I don't trust any part of American government anymore. There is no reason for me to trust them. All they've ever delivered is misery the entirety of my life when I look back upon it. It's not that they can't do anything for good for the American people. It's that they won't, because if they do, they deprive themselves of ill-gotten gains. And some other time we'll get into that. But you have nothing but traitors in the entirety of American government. So this is going to be very interesting what the Supreme Court will do with this ruling from the state Supreme Court of Colorado. Will they overturn it? And will Donald Trump be able to appear on the primary ballot there? Or will he also be kicked out of California, Michigan, Minnesota, because that's being discussed? You know, and really what that does is it denies the citizenry an opportunity to vote for someone that they want for president of the United States. And well, in retaliation, other states have said that they might remove Joe Biden. And all of this is not supposed to happen anywhere but in a country that is failing, that is either dead or dying. And it's a matter of opinion whether this country, the United States of America, is still even alive. Really, it's a matter of opinion and debate as to whether it really is. And of course, if you're talking about the federal Supreme Court, the Supreme Court of the land, looking at this issue with Donald Trump and whether he can appear on primary ballots or not, or even in the final ballot for voting for president of the United States, I don't trust the Supreme Court. I remember what they did with Obamacare. Unconstitutional as it was and is, they allowed it to happen. They said it could be a tax. You could have it if it's a tax. It was never declared to be a tax. They got a lot of help, the people that wanted this Obamacare, from Justice Roberts, who was the one that wrote the opinion, oh yeah, you can have it if it's a tax. Well, anyway, good luck to all of us in this country that has fallen apart, because I don't see that the court system works. I don't see that the legislative branch works. And the executive branch is a joke. So all three branches of American government are done for. The Congress, a ridiculous bunch of people that refuse to save this country and its people from the crimes that will be perpetrated against them by people that the government, have brought into this country illegally. You got nothing but yourselves to save you, and the question is whether you will or not. Anyway, let's get on with our discussion with Mr. Dave Gibson about his opinion that Trump will not appear on the ballot. Okay, we're with Mr. Dave Gibson, and he, like a bunch of other folks, is saying that Trump is not going to be elected president. Dave, thank you for coming on, and why do you have that opinion?
Well, do you think that he won the last election?
Yeah, I think he won the last election.
I do too. Has anything been changed as far as our election system since 2020 when he was robbed?
Not that I know of, and I do agree with you. How is he going? I think he would win this election, this coming election, if it were held fairly. I, however, will agree with you that it's all
Well,
screwed up. So how is he going to win?
I'm going to share a little piece of wisdom that someone very smart told me on the golf course many years ago. If the queen had balls, she'd be the king. Doesn't make any difference. If, and he's not, nothing has been changed. The people have not revolted. We needed a revolution. That didn't happen. The people are very lazy, and American people have an extremely short memory, and they believe in fairy tales, apparently. Nothing, we all know that Biden, the votes were switched. There were an enormous number of votes added in the middle of the night for Joe Biden. No one in their right mind thinks that Biden got 81 million votes in 2020. However, now no one is talking. All of the Trump voters and Republicans are not talking about that. Now they're talking about Trump being elected as if it's an actual fair election coming our way next year. And none of that is happening. Nothing has changed. They will steal it again. They'll steal it for Biden. They may steal it for Newsom. They may steal it for Kamala. Who knows who?
But
Trump,
they have to steal it. They have to, because they have
did
painted themselves into a corner. They did it last time. They will try to do it again this time. Okay.
I don't think there's any trying. They have a system in place. It hasn't been challenged. Not one person who ran this election steal has been, forget prosecuted, has been questioned. There is no case against any of these people. Mark Zuckerberg funded the entire Dropbox.
You're talking about the Facebook guy, Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
Yep.
That whole network that was built, that he financed.
Mm-hmm. He put millions into that.
Has Mark Zuckerberg sat down with an FBI agent and answered one question since then? No. Will he? No. So, but are the J6 protesters who weren't FBI agents are all sitting in a dungeon with no lawyers, can't see their families, people don't even know where they are, if they're dead or alive. There are people being prosecuted for this J6. They call it an insurrection. Of course, you know it wasn't an insurrection.
No.
The insurrection is what took place in the summer of 2020.
That's right. Black Lives Matter, Antifa.
Black Lives Matter mobs,
yes.
and Antifa
yes.
mobs.
Yes.
Okay, there are people in prison right now, sitting in jail cells, about this big, who, for the J6 insurrection, who weren't even in D.C. that day.
That's correct.
And what are we doing? What are Americans doing? We're sitting on our fat asses, ordering DoorDash and Grubhub and watching the latest from Netflix, and talking seriously about next year's election, about Trump getting elected, as if that's even a reasonable possibility.
Let me go through this with you. We have a crooked FBI. We have a crooked Department of Justice. We have found out that our system for electing a president and others is completely rigged, right?
Right. Yep.
I forgot if I mentioned that the news media is completely corrupt and working on behalf of whoever runs this government.
Right.
We have a crooked president. That's very, very obvious, the things that Biden has done that have come to light in terms of using his office in order to make money illicitly. In fact, from some of our enemies, so that would make him subject to treason or label him as a traitor along with his son. But the FBI doesn't touch that, right? And they're going forcefully after Trump to imprison him. I guess that's what the game
Let
is
me
all
bring
about.
this up. I think this is worth mentioning,
Hmm.
which I don't hear her name very often. There was first they told us that there were 6 Capitol Hill police officers killed on January
That
6th.
was a lie.
And then it came down to, then it became 3, then it became 2, then it became 1.
Hmm.
Well, now we know it's none.
Hmm.
One person was murdered there that day. Her name was Ashley Babbitt,
Right.
a white, unarmed Air Force veteran who was protesting at the Capitol, didn't present a risk to anyone. In fact, when the black Capitol Hill policeman, Christopher Byrd, shot her to death, she was standing right next to a Capitol Hill police officer.
Yes, I saw that.
And he wasn't looking at her. He was just
Nope.
doing it. He was talking to somebody else. Byrd could have killed that other police officer very easily.
He got away with it, and I think they even gave him some kind of...
What that happened on January 6th.
Right, yeah.
The FBI closed their Department of Justice closed their investigation into the matter in April, early in the first week of April of 2021, without even questioning Christopher Byrd. He didn't have to answer one question.
No, we know. Dave, we know that. But when it comes down to...
But we're pretending he got away with murder.
Okay.
He murdered an unarmed white woman.
Yes. Okay, so what's that got to do with Trump not getting elected?
Well,
What's it got to do?
But everybody thinks that that somehow Trump can get elected in a thoroughly corrupt system where he won the election in 2020.
And they took it away from him.
And he left anyway.
Look, I agree with you. It's thoroughly corrupt. It would... So can you and I say that it would be a miracle if he got elected? If he actually made it through that mess, it would be a miracle because
I think Jesus Christ could come off the cross and it wouldn't happen.
They are trying to make it that way, and they might just make it that way. So
we're dealing with the most evil people who have ever existed. We're dealing with people who molest children, who take payoffs from the Mexican. I'm talking about Congress. I'm talking about
of course.
the people who run this country, senators. I'm talking about people like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates. I'm talking about child molesters, people who take money from the Mexican drug cartel.
I get we're dealing with very, very bad people. I get that. So you know what? You and I are in agreement. You and I are in agreement that it would be a miracle if Donald Trump indeed does manage to get elected president of the United States.
Talk about it as if why are people talking about it?
You know what? I think it's part of the lie. It's part of the lie that's put out there that everybody wants to make it seem like this is going to be a regular, normal election, that everything's going to be okay. But you and I both agree that the elections are now known to be totally rigged. So how is anybody going to be able to vote for this man?
I'm also annoyed. Look, I get annoyed with Trump when I hear him talking about next year's election as if it's an actual election. And he's getting. I see these emails, the Trump campaign asking me for money for an election that's not going to happen anymore.
I get those all the time myself from him. He is always looking to,
Nothing. It's not an election. What are we funding with that?
Very interesting, and that will define itself in 2024. Now, are you going to go and vote, or I am?
No.
I am going to vote.
I'm not.
Okay, so
I
then,
have no doubt
so then,
I vote.
guys like you,
Changed the last time.
guys like you who will not vote, may hand Biden or whoever the Democrats run legitimacy and being voted in. Because you won't vote.
So it's my fault.
If you vote, there is at least a record that you voted and who
like
you
you.
voted for. Forensics can make it possible to discover what the real numbers were. If you don't vote, then there's legitimacy to the claim that they won popularly. That's fact, pal.
Frank,
Look, all we need is 80 million like you who will not vote, and we will have lost. Hey, that's the way it is.
Let's talk about forensics, since you brought it up, and you're the expert here.
No, I just think it's a neat word, so I threw that in there.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Let's talk about forensics for 1 minute.
Yeah.
We have video in Atlanta of Ruby Freeman and her fat ass daughter and some other fat lady running everybody out of the room when there was a supposed water main break 3 or 4 blocks away.
Yes.
Everybody left, and then those 3 came back in the room, and Ruby Freeman they start pulling out containers from under tables with Biden ballots and running them through the vote tallying machines 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 times a piece. They didn't realize there were cameras in the ceiling.
Did anything happen to them as a consequence?
No.
That is outrageous. But that is...
You see them handing a thumb drive to each other. And back and forth, shoving it in the side of the computer.
Okay.
And Ruby Freeman's fat daughter.
I get it. Let me go someplace with this.
No, let me finish.
Does it become clear that we're living under tyranny of sorts here? That's
Yeah, I feel like I'm living under tyranny.
Well,
I want to answer the question.
Come 2024, when this election takes place,
I am not suicidal.
You're not suicidal.
I am not, just like Jude Smollett said.
If Trump doesn't make it, I think people will realize that we really are living under tyranny, which they should know that by now. And then what? Responsibility falls upon whom to make that situation right? The citizenry.
Thomas Jefferson said, we need a revolution probably about every 20 years. Well, Thomas Jefferson's been gone a long time.
A long time.
And I'm pretty sure we haven't had a revolution. I'm pretty sure we're well overdue for one.
Well, I think we had a massive revolution maybe 4 years ago or so, and a little bit before then during the Trump presidency, because quite obviously the BLM, Antifa, everything that hit the streets, burning, looting, and everything, was part of a communist takeover or something disguised as a communist takeover. Now, as previously mentioned, we've got a media that isn't worth anything. We have a president that isn't worth anything. He's brought in more than 10 million illegal aliens into this country using our money. It's incredible.
We have traitors
everywhere.
We have police chiefs who aren't worth a shit. We have sheriffs who aren't worth a shit. Governors, city councilmen, mayors. Every one of them let us down in 2020 when they let the mobs take over and destroy public and private property. And it has been non-stop looting. The looting has not ended since then.
That's all part of a design.
I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. 2 Rite Aids within both of them are within maybe 4 miles of me, have shut down. They're going out of business because they can't compete with the theft. That's why everybody is upset, including me, of course, about the grocery places. Well, some of it has to do with our money becoming worthless because we're giving it all to the Ukrainian money launderers.
Yeah, that's part of the deal.
But just as important as that is, in those grocery store prices, the theft is what's making the store prices so absurdly high.
You know what? I get that. I think everybody else does too. But you brought up something very interesting, which is, in addition to everything that we mentioned, the courts are not worth anything either.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
The judges aren't worth a shit. We have
Nope.
prosecutors who won't prosecute anyone except Donald Trump
Yep.
for being Donald Trump.
Yes, that's right. That's where we're at.
It's the only
Okay.
crime.
Look,
It's the only valid crime.
tell you what, this thing here, I think we could beat it to death all day long. I think you and I are in agreement that the system, everything in the United States is so corrupt at this point in time that I will admit that I don't see how Donald Trump can be legitimately voted into office. I don't see how that's going to happen. So I will go out and vote. I've already stated why. I think my reasoning is very, very sound.
Can I make a prediction about your vote?
Yeah, give me a prediction about my vote.
Did you cast aspersions upon my actions?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Guys like you, when you go out and cast your vote, your vote will be changed, be switched from Trump to Biden. Up 5 times.
You know what? That's a possibility, but I will vote nevertheless. I think that they can find out what happened. The computer guys can figure out what happened. I think it's my duty, it's your duty, it's everybody's duty to go and at least do that. Because come 2024, if things go south, it will be incumbent upon the American citizenry to restore the republic, the constitutional republic. That means taking up arms. That's what that means.
Well, see,
it means losing fear of the FBI. It means losing fear of the federal government and even of the state government. It means understanding that we live under a tyranny that we should not abide by and that we would have to overthrow. Those are the responsibilities that we would have to act upon or think about. Yeah.
Frank, also assuming here, both of us, that there will actually be another election, even an election.
You're right. Yeah, you're
there
right.
There may not be another one.
There may not be another. You know, I'm glad you brought that up because there are stirrings of they're going to loosen another epidemic. They're going to do some kind of thing so that the outcome of the election, if there is one, will be affected. And I think it's reasonable. It's a reasonable concern. Glad you brought that up.
What were the effects of 2020? They gave us a vaccine that is now killing Americans in scores. Left young people. Now it's normal for teenagers and people, athletes in their 20s, to die of sudden stroke and heart attacks. Now that's a normal.
Yeah, but as a consequence, people learn that you don't pay attention to this government. You don't pay attention to a medical establishment that is being paid off by the pharmaceutical companies, and that there is an agenda to control us and subjugate us. I think we all learned that. Look,
it's normal to have your taxes increased while your services, like public safety, police protection,
are decreased.
There are certain things, no matter what happens, that this country cannot be saved from. One of the reasons our economy is no longer, it's just in ruins, is from NAFTA, CAFTA, and GATT. And we allowed, with these sellout politicians in this country, allowed all of these sellout captains of industry sent all of our manufacturing to China and Mexico. That shrunk the economy and did such great harm to the American worker that we'll never be able to recover from that. They told us that, or they tell us, oh, don't worry, the high-tech jobs are going to replace those. Well, of course, we know that's not true because people like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs before them pick up the phone and they called Harry Reid or Mitch McConnell.
Harry Reid's dead.
Pizza, and I need this many H-1B visa workers from India.
Yeah.
And they come over here by the hundreds of thousands and take those high-tech jobs. We have no economy. We have a low-wage, service-based economy, which was then decimated during the scamdemic. And how many people saw police officers, and I use that term very loosely, scumbags, Nazi stormtroopers stuffing business owners into the back of police cars.
Yeah, well, look, we saw all that, and it was a great lesson. I don't think we're going to abide by that this time. If they try that, I don't think it's going to happen. One more item that I do want to add is that both political parties are completely corrupt, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. This whole business of the Republicans will save us, no, they will not. They have not for many years, and they will not. They're all part of the Uniparty. It's all one thing. Everybody's been bought off. Look at all these guys and gals that are millionaires on a $170,000 a year salary that they get for serving in Congress. I see
Republicans doing with two things. They're protecting Joe Biden from impeachment.
They are. They're going to drag their feet on that till the final moment. They're not going to impeach this guy. I can see it. I think everybody can see it.
Workers from impeachment.
Yep.
And they're getting rich. And I want to bring up something. 2 days before, and I don't hear any Trumplicans, any Republicrats talking about this. 2 days before the populist, she likes to think of herself that way, Marjorie Taylor Greene, 2 days, who was never had vowed never to vote for Kevin McCarthy as Speaker.
And she did.
And all of a sudden he found her price and bought her off. And then she was for him. 2 days before, in fact, it was less than 2 days before Putin announced military action against the Ukraine. 2 days before that, she just happened to buy a large amount of Lockheed Martin stock. Mm-hmm. Isn't that what a coincidence? Wow. How fortunate for Marjorie.
That is the way that it works currently in Washington.
This piggy power lifter.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, look,
she's another sellout.
I think we've beat the thing to death. Thank you for your passion. You've got lots of opinions and many things to say, and I want to thank you for your time. And the one thing that you and I agree upon is that it would be a miracle if Donald Trump got elected. I think everybody wants Donald Trump, really, but it would be a miracle if he does get elected. Wait, I want to hit on one more thing. Okay, what if he does get elected? What if he's allowed, as you and I may think, by the system for their purposes, they allow Donald Trump to get elected? Then what? Is it because he's completely controlled? They have found the means of, controlling him? What?
There's two things, Frank. The only way he would get elected, there's two ways he could get elected. Mm-hmm. Either, which I don't think he has it, either he has a system laid in place where he steals the election, because it's legitimately, there's no way they're going to let him get elected.
No, they can't. So unless they have found a way to put him in and nullify everything he does and make him powerless.
Have to happen. Either he has to steal it himself, which I'm okay with, because that's where we live now. We live in a banana republic now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Or if he gets in there without all that, without committing fraud, without stealing votes and doing the same thing that was done to him, mm-hmm. then we'll know that he is part of the deep state, part of the fraud that's been put upon us.
I understand what you're saying.
They will only allow him in there if he is part of their plan, and that's been something that you and I have talked about privately. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And look, we have to. What is and this is something I want to bring up. What is Trump What was he bragging about? And he got boos from the crowd as if he didn't.
The vaccine.
The vaccine
Yes.
was his main accomplishment, big accomplishment.
Yeah, pretty bad. Pretty bad.
And everybody boos it. And what that told me is that, and I was shocked when he said that, he bragged about it.
Mm-hmm.
What that told me is that he has no idea. He is not in touch with his own supporters.
He was out of touch on that, 100%. I will agree. You know what? We could go on with this forever,
Is he part of it? Is he part of the fraud?
I don't think that he is.
I don't know.
I don't think that he is. I don't. He got hit really hard. He was a first-time president. He tried to be nice to everybody, and he found out that they all had knives out for him.
To do. He was supposed to be a boss. He was supposed to be a tough guy.
I think he tried. He found out that he was being circumvented and stabbed in the back every step of the way. Hopefully, if he makes it, this time will be different. But as you and I have said, it would be a miracle. Dave, I got to say goodbye. Thank you.
Okay, Frank.
Bye-bye. Well, folks, thank you for listening. This is the last of this. Maybe for the end of this year. We're almost at the end of 2023. We're December 23rd, a few days before Christmas. You know what? You got to stop and think what you're going to do about what is happening within government to ruin your life. Yes, it does come down to your household and what you might want to do about this situation, whether you want to put up with the continual degradation of the quality of life that we have come to know, and it's getting pretty bad, or whether you want to do something about it, understanding fully that writing a letter to your stupid, retarded traitor of a congressman will do you absolutely no good, that you have a shit for brains president that is not even a real president. I think they stole the election and they put this half-human in called Joe Biden. And that your country is in the process, or the government is in the process of replacing you as a citizen, and they're doing it with your money. You've seen what's been going on with the border and the buses coming in and airplanes coming in, even from foreign countries flying straight in here with our money to bring people who are not a part of the American culture whatsoever into our nation in a way that's got nothing to do with civilized, established immigration law that is meant to protect you and I. Our government doesn't give a damn about us. We are here to be used. We are here to generate money for them that then they steal through that process known as taxation, which is legalized theft and nothing more than that. The question is, what are you going to do about this? What am I going to do about it? It's something to think about. Talk it over with a few friends. All right. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good days are gone, and I can move on quite as